Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight on our news.
Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis shoots down those who have been critical of his comments in recent days.
Bahamas Power and Light is making life a little easier for customers.
Our news is brought to you by Alive, the nation's newest and best LTE network.
Good to be alive. Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. I'm Vonik Tood. Topping news tonight, 6 months into the Minnis administration's term in office, Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis declared today that both crime and the fear of crime are down. Minnis said reducing crime and growing the economy are his focus, not criticism over his recent scathing assessment of Bahamian journalists. Jasmine Brown caught up with Dr. Minnis.
The Prime Minister was asked if he regretted those comments. However, he insisted he had more critical matters to address than those who have criticized him.
Jazz, I'm heading now to Cabinet. I'm going to approve some investment to try to grow this economy. There are too many Bahamians out there who are hurting, who need jobs, and that's my #1 priority.
And that's just about all the Prime Minister would say when asked about those who were critical of his Press Club Awards comments. On Saturday night, the Prime Minister delivered a keynote address at the awards ceremony where he accused journalists in the Bahamas of going after drama and excitement while missing important stories on public policy. He also insisted members of the press fail to give in-depth coverage of the government's plan to change the Bahamas Nationality Act to ensure that all children born outside the Bahamas to Bahamian women automatically receive Bahamian citizenship. The comments prompted backlash from some in the media, including veteran journalist Gladstone Thurston, who sharply rebuked Minnis' attack as nothing more than an insane attempt at rank intimidation. When pressed again on those criticisms, the Prime Minister would only say he is focused on the citizens of the Bahamas. It's fair to say you're not focused on the criticisms and those who...
I am focused on Bahamian lives, the quality of lives being improved, and job opportunities. That's my #1 focus. Thank you very much.
So what is the Prime Minister focused on? He says crime and the economy.
We were focusing on crime, we're still focusing on crime, and from my observation, as I move through the community, crime is down, the fear of crime is down, and now our great focus is the economy and the ease of doing business. And that's why I'm going to Cabinet now, so that we can approve investments to create jobs for Bahamians. So that's my #1 priority.
Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Government officials paid their respects to former House Speaker Sir Arlington Butler, whose body lion stayed in the foyer of the House of Assembly today. But as well-wishers remembered him fondly, his widow and children were noticeably separated as they greeted those well-wishers from different rooms. His wife, Lady Hazel Butler, and her family greeted visitors in the majority room, while his children sat in the chief clerk's office. The feud between Sir Arlington's widow and his children has been a public one, with Lady Butler requesting security detail. House Speaker Halston Moultrie remembered Sir Arlington fondly and called on the family to unite for the sake of Mr. Butler.
He would be sadly missed, and we're just praying for the peace of God to cover the family so that their lives, or his life, would be an example of how they should proceed into the future. So Ali, of course, was a person who from the person that I know, would be a person who would expect the love and the caring of family members. That was the type of person he was. And so I'm hoping that his spirit takes over and the family would once again reunite.
Vice President of the Senate, Dr. Mildred Hall, echoed those sentiments.
I hope that we all remember, inclusive of the family, that God is a God of forgiveness. And as we attempt to learn what God has taught us, that this will also be used and manifested in their relationships with each other.
Sir Arlington, who was also a former ambassador to the United States, died in hospital 2 weeks ago. He married Hazel Butler in 2014 after his first wife, Sheila, died in 2013. Last Thursday, Supreme Court Justice Cheryl Grant Thompson ordered Lady Butler to be allowed to reside in the matrimonial home and deemed her the individual responsible for his funeral. According to a statement released by the family of Sir Arlington Butler, the children, after careful consideration and on the advice of senior family members, legal counsel, and their father's dearest friends, have relinquished any direct involvement in his funeral arrangements. An official funeral will be held tomorrow morning at Christ Church Cathedral. Classes have yet to resume at R. Bailey Senior High School as sanitation exercises continue following 10 confirmed TB cases. Earlier this week, the Ministry of Education ordered that the school be sanitized. That work was supposed to be completed yesterday, but Education Minister Jeff Lloyd says there has been a delay.
It still continues, and obviously we are not going back into the classrooms. Teachers are not going to report, nor will students, until such time as that is concluded and that the Department of Environmental Health confirms and verifies that the place is properly sanitized.
Lloyd says he doesn't expect classes to resume until Monday.
It seems as if it's going to be Monday. Today is Thursday. I mean, cleaning, as I understand, about 75% completed. That's another 25%. And then, you have to also give time for the Department of Environmental Health to verify. So it appears as if it's going to be Monday.
The minister also had these words for students and teachers who have not been tested.
We are requesting, by way of an announcement, that all students and teachers report so that they can have their tests done.
In light of major irregularities uncovered at Bahamas Power and Light, the company's new Chief Operating Officer, Christina Alston, is seeking to correct inefficiencies in BPL's procurement process. According to a report from Ernst & Young into the state-owned power company, the invoice approval and payment process that was in place allowed for fraud to go undetected for months. Alston says BPL staff has learned from some errors of the past.
Hope to do is to bring us in line with the Institute of Supply Management Standards. That is the industry that oversees supply chain. We really need to do a good job in giving everyone, meaning the people of the Bahamas and the vendors, a sense that we're going to take control of the situation. We're going to put in proper segregation of duties, and more importantly, we're going to set up vendor evaluations and vendor qualification processes. Again, the importance is transparency. We're spending Bahamian dollars, and it's important that everyone feels good about what we're going to be doing in the future.
Alston says she's trying to pinpoint exactly how far the company has strayed from industry standards.
The Institute of Supply Management is the guideline. So what I will be doing is actually looking at where we are, what the Institute of Supply Management says we should be, and see if I can take those two and bring them together. This industry is one of the most studied industries on the planet. We don't need to reinvent the wheel here. This industry is very studied, and especially the utility sector is very studied. So when we talk about supply chain, we're going to be looking at the soup to nuts. We're going to be looking at everything that we can do to tighten up supply chain, from warehousing to investment recovery, to not only are we keeping up with standards for the utility industry. And in doing so, we really hope to streamline those costs and spend the dollars judiciously.
Coming up on our news, banking made easier for Family Island residents. Plus, a basketball legend spreads the joy of Thanksgiving. So stay tuned.